Thank you, Damon.
Next time we ought to have a picture of it though.
Yeah, I didn't see any, huh?
Understood. Yeah, great point. Yep, we'll do the picture.
All right, January 2025 operations report.
Yes. Okay. So, we're kicking the year off. So the mobile MMS dashboard doesn't have kind of the month over month stats. It's really got the first month stats. What's really interesting, as you all can imagine, when we look at the dashboard and talk about statistics associated with the field work, check for leak is right there at the top with the number of closed service requests, which is 38. And what was interesting is as I was screen capturing this information and printing it out on the last day of the month, the work orders for check for leak went from 29 to 32. So the customer service representatives are updating this and pushing out work orders, and it's getting incorporated into the dashboard kind of as I'm printing the information. So this is kind of the month over month, or the information throughout the month that as you see us go through the next, 11 months, it'll change as you look at this information. So this won't be one just giant block of check for leak service requests. There are going to be other items that are incorporated in there. And you can see this one is, this is mechanical, 33 work orders for the mechanics in the month of January. They took the cake for the most work orders out in the field, which is great. And then repair was followed closely. And then PM work orders behind us. And then we had, this is kind of the breakdown of all of the different types of work orders. So 40 repairs. And then we had some preventative maintenance work orders and a whole host of other different categories. We had 78 USAs in the month of January. Most of those up on its past with 30. And then kind of just to, jump into the fray again when we talk about production versus consumption and water loss. You can see this is the totalized production for all of our 6 water systems versus all of the consumption for those 13,000 water meters. We're still working to understand why the peaks and valleys, what effect they have. As you can imagine, treatment plants often will raise tank levels based on work efforts, or if we anticipate a storm, or if there's going to be some project that's going to get implemented in order to increase the capacity or the source of supply of water for folks. So, and then we go through system by system, and you have a range of water loss between 18% and 39%. But not all of that is based on actual water loss. And so part of the effort is to better understand the data. So we don't have garbage in, garbage out. We have more of a reliable data set. One fact remains, the AMI data is really reliable and really helpful. So the production side is one of the items that we need to work on next. And, I think Kevin.
Just, Damon, how do we measure the production?
So that's the effluent flow meter that leaves the treatment plant. So
When's the last time you changed that?
well, we calibrate them annually, verify their calibration annually. Yeah. We haven't changed them in some time. Well, I take that back. Some of them we have, some of them we haven't. But we
And
can,
that technology is still current?
yes, and we can adjust. So if it's got a deviation in it, we can adjust it. So even when it's coming out of SCADA, it's accurate. So if it's like 3% off, that electrician's been adjusted in SCADA, so our operators aren't having to do the math. It's doing it itself. Yep. So, Kevin's really, I think, he's got his best foot forward when it comes to the CIP, which has a huge component. It is a huge component when it comes to addressing water loss. And so I'm just jumping through the production versus consumption numbers. You can see that the electricity system is really tight here. And then the copper code system is the one that has the most uniformly broad water loss. So, but we don't feel necessarily that that's actually a reality. So more research and then more information will actually help us better understand what's going on.
Would you believe that up at Hunter's, it has to do with all of the work we've been doing with our water system up there?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's why I bring up Kevin and his CIP, because projects have a direct impact on water loss.
Because we've been to
Fundamentally.
3 and 1 and
Right.
whatever.
Yes,
projects.
and everyone has felt the pain, but
Uh-huh.
the benefit is illustrated in,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
No, that's great
yeah, we're pretty happy.
for hunters. Yeah.
Yeah. So diving into the classic, starting in Rancho Calaveras, this is an interesting one. So this is part of the Genuine A to B project. You know, when those folks are potholing, they want to put a new water main in the ground, they're going to find infrastructure that we don't know exists. And so that's this is one of those cases, there's a 2-inch line that is charged with a valve on it that our folks are still working to understand where it terminates. We don't know where it ends. So this is some of the work that our distribution guys find themselves in the midst of after they're checking pressure reducing valves, receiving service requests, responding to low pressure calls or whatnot, researching where this 2-inch water line goes, drilling holes in it, trying to see where the water comes from and testing it to understand what happens. And that's what often is the result of a project. But these are direct examples that yield to a reduction in water loss. Because if for some reason that line, which we didn't know existed, had a leak on it and we fix it, that's a direct, correlation between the work that CIP projects do and a reduction in water loss. Not only replacing obvious leaky pipes. Excuse me. Jump right into service line replacing, we continue in the Rancho Calaveras area. This is our dog meat. Replacing a service, the image on the right is kind of the finished product, really clean, just a little bit on the edge of the asphalt and some base rock there in the grass there. New service install, so you can see a tap of the water main, no tap on the left and then a tap on the right with the service line leaving and the corp stop on Henny. And then the really clean work kind of at the end, finished product, the meter box and the trench, you didn't even know it was there. Jumping in, this is a great one. So we had some conversation earlier about fire protection,
Right.
where we have fire hydrants and the fire protection districts, our Ebbets Pass distribution crew, worked with the, Ebbets Pass Fire Department to conduct a training for their cadets or their interns, they call them, on the proper operation of the fire hydrant. At the, Ebbets Pass Fire Station number 1. So you can see our supervisor up on the pass, Joe Darby, and Bill Heinley here, distribution worker, talking to the interns about how to operate the hydrant. And then they ran through kind of the CCWD deep insight on hydrant operation and then let the interns take turns doing the work. And so it was a great afternoon. We talked about the system in general. We were able to compare notes with the fire captains. 850 fire hydrants were inspected and tested on behalf of the Fire District 4 CCWD up on the pass.
Just on the path?
Just on the pass, yeah.
Wow.
And that work was completed in last month. And so hats off to them. I want to say we have 6, it's in the distribution system ops report. I'm going to say we have 6 out of service hydrants in Ebbets Pass out of 850. So we talked about how the system operates. We showed them where the tank sites are, how the treatment plant runs, and really want to just give them a better understanding of the system overall, and then work together in all of the fire protection districts to have kind of a symbiotic relationship with understanding the water system. And that's tipping our cap to everything that's gone on, since back from the Butte fire. So we're in lockstep with firefighters.
Good.
So hats off to those guys that did a great job. Then they jump in and they do things like this, which is repair a service line on fairway. And you can see it was 2 holes, 2 potholes, and then it looks like issues at the corp stop on the main and a new section of service line and then a shark bite connection to the existing line. And then maintenance on PRDs. PRDs are continually filling up with water. So in some of these pictures, you see us dewatering them, and then you see the guys actually drilling holes in the bottom of the vaults to try to get them to drain out. Mixed results on that one. But you can see the image on the right, cleaning off the top of the clay valve, getting all that debris up.
I would think the water might come up.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Lift station cleanup in West Point. The image on the right is a 2-inch coming off the lift station pump. So it's pressurized septic tank effluent, which is pumped through that pipe that had to be repaired. And then while the guys are there, while Doug is there, the distribution supervisor, he goes ahead and cleans up the parking lot, the roof, and makes it a nice presentable lift station. Sometimes lift stations can get a little self-conscious because they smell so bad. It's really nice.
Yes.
And then this is just a reminder to protect your piping up on the pass. Folks install a backflow and they don't adequately protect it from the weather, and it blows up and you end up with a bunch of ice surfaces and call out for emergencies. And then, you know, when the guys aren't out fixing leaks or installing service lines, they're doing things like this, fixing aged equipment on the diesel tank at West Point. And this interesting one, you know, when folks accidentally put a burn pile on top of their water meter, our guys are there on the spot to replace the meter box and the lid, and the customer can gratefully live to burn another day. Yeah, that was an interesting one. And our electricians are always.
How'd you like to send that one into Farmers Insurance? What do you mean your house burned down? Where'd you start the fire? Oh, with my water meter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the image on the left is an indication of what it looks like when the transducer starts to fail. You see this nice solid flat line, and all of a sudden you just see this up, down, up, down, up, down, at each point where it looks like a giant maroon bar, and that's a failing transducer. So our electricians can identify that, and then they can upgrade the logic in the PLC, which is the image on the right called ladder logic, to address the issue. So they can physically go fix it. They can also attenuate it through the PLC. And so they do great work. Here's a B-tank pressure system in Rancho, checking voltage on this is a small pressure system up at the top of the world, so to speak, at B-tank. You can see all over the place. And the guys do great work. And then this should say flow meter install. You know, I got overzealous looking at my photograph of the flow meter HMI there, and then a good old fashioned chart report. So these are still in use in Calaveras County Park. The construction crew cleaned up the roadway down to Bear Creek. This has been a, you know, conversation, an annual conversation about Bear Creek and the fact that it's inundated with these storms. And so more great work by them. You can see it just looks like a park every time they get out of there. And FEMA is appreciative of their work as well. And then right here in the back at the main courtyard, the construction crew and Mike and Eric Martinez, our facilities maintenance staffer, and our mechanics work together to clean up the yards out here and reorganize the material. It looks fabulous. They moved some rail cars, they graded it, they leveled it. Just the roller right there. Yes, yeah, yes. Oh, there it is. Yeah, right. Yeah, there it is.
Let's cover it.
Yeah, you see it. Yeah, thanks, Pat. And then this is, you know, hats off, you know, we talk about our mechanic periodically. There's a Rotork valve actuator that works for the MBR facility at Vallecito. And it's quite an expensive valve, and we purchased a new one, and it's kind of the heart of Vallecito's MBR facility. And there was an issue with placing it on top of the valve. And so our mechanics built this extender to allow us to connect the actuator and the valve. You can see the image on the right, that extender in use, and actually keep us in action and keep us operating. So they do great work.
That's amazing that they
Yeah.
can do stuff like that, you know?
Yeah,
That's
they-
real important.
Yeah, it's really important.
It's a real
And then
benefit.
This is a picture of the water truck that was approved last month. So forgot the roller, but I remember the water truck.
That just looks like a truck.
Yes.
All right, any questions for Damon?
Nice pics.
The driver of that water truck, has he been trained how to knock down all the grading stakes and stuff? Outside?
Yeah, hopefully not.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damon, are you listening to how major this storm is supposed to be tonight? Any special things you've done?
Absolutely. So we're tracking the storm. Our mechanics have been out all day checking all generators and check the fuel, and everybody is prepping their facilities. You know, just to get it along.
Look at the sky over there.
I better.
That's Bear Mountain.
We have our.
That's Bear Mountain.
Oh,
hoping. You know, I have, I mean, this day, 2017 is indelibly imprinted in my brain from an atmospheric river storm. And then it was like 2010 or February 10th, the next year, February 12th, the year after that. It's like,
oh,
so these few days, it's kind of like, man,
Never know.
I'm on edge.
but you're ready.
It's ready.
And
You're ready. Yeah,
you and the crew are ready, and that's great.
yeah.
Yeah.
we're ready. Yeah.
Any other questions for Damon? Any public comment questions for Damon? Okay, thank you, Damon.